show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What's going on? What's going on to all my embracers? What's going on, y'all? This is Grace from Embrace the Grace. I got my co-host Gary D sitting in the back, waiting to come up. But we just got a couple things to take care of before we get started. I have a couple of grievances from HR that I need to express to you guys. First things first. I don't know why people think that they can come up on this panel and disrespect each other and insult each other, because if that's the case, I am no longer going to put up with it. I was summoned by HR and I was told that if it gets to the point where people are insulting one another, I'm just dropping both of the people, and then it will be up to HR to see if they can be brought back up. I am trying to have a very professional, classy, and graceful channel. Is it going to get spicy sometimes? Absolutely. Is it going to get heated sometimes? Absolutely. It's supposed to. Because over here, we have the awkward, messy, uncomfortable conversations. But we can have those conversations because they're necessary. However, we won't have them with any sign language. We will not have them with shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. We need to learn to be adults and agree to disagree. So with that being said, let me go ahead and keep going. I am Grace from Embrace the Grace, and welcome to my channel. For all my weekly embracers that come check me out, thank you. I appreciate your consistent and constant support. For any of my new embracers, I hope that you like what you hear, and I hope that you learn something, and I hope you have takeaways. I welcome anybody and everybody to come up on here and give us their perspective. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and definitely donate to the channel. This is a lot of work. It takes a lot of work and energy. I dropped 3 shows this week, and I'm happy to do it. But at the same time, donations will be highly appreciated. And where can you find me? Man, I think you can find me all over these social media streets. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat. You can find me here on Thursday nights at the JBJ Network. You're going to find me Friday nights at Boardwalk Global Media, starting September 8th when they come off of their hiatus. You can find me Sunday nights at Sir Harold Speaks. You can find me collaborating with great other podcasters such as Smitty's Corner, Unfiltered Blue, The Heat from the Basement. So you guys, I'm all over the place. Just embrace me wherever you can find me. So without any further ado, I am going to bring up Gary D, my co-host, who's been rocking with me since the first of this year. And I'm also going to go ahead and bring up Smitty from Smitty's Corner, who's been rocking with me as well. So I just want to let you guys know that tonight is going to be a very spicy and racy conversation, and we got to get into it, okay? Because it's an important topic. So Gary, how are you tonight, sir?
I'm good. So
good. And let people know where we can find you. Let people know where we can find you, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
What's up, everyone? This is Gary D, co-hosting here on Embrace the Grace. But I also, I'm head of Boardwalk Global Media. We have a couple of different podcasts that we do every week, but we're on hiatus now because we just moved into a very big studio now. But we'll be back September 8th. Our main show is The Real Discussion, which comes on Friday nights from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So be sure to check it out when we come back on September 8th. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Thank you so much for that, Gary. Again, I appreciate you coming up. Smitty, welcome to the show, my dear. You there? Or are you going to go get your cup of Kool-Aid? I know how you move. I know how you move. Introduce yourself. Let people know let people know where we can find you so we can get right into it. I can't hear you. You're muted. You're muted.
My bad, my bad. All right, I'm not gonna hold this up. All right, respect. It's your boy
There you go.
Smitty, the one who will not be silenced. All right. You can find me over here at Grace, obviously, as you can see, as a co-host, right? And you can also find me on Smitty's Corner, YouTube, as well as type in County King on IG. I'm gonna change my name on IG, but it's a business account, so I gotta switch that. So I'll go ahead and keep y'all posted. Other than that, I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
All right, gentlemen. I know you guys saw the thumbnail. I know you guys saw what we're talking about. It may get a little bit personal, but not too deep where it's getting too personal. But I am going to ask you some questions. So the conversation tonight, ladies and gentlemen, to all my embracers, the importance of sexual compatibility. We're going to learn why it's important, why it's necessary, and what happens when you're not sexually compatible with your lifelong partner, significant other. And this has nothing to do with race, gender, or orientation. This has to do with relationships and sexual relationships. So I'm going to start off asking the panel a couple questions, and I will go first. My question to you, gentlemen, is what is one thing that is a deal breaker for you when it comes to your relationship and sex? And what is one thing you refuse to partake when it comes to sex and your relationship? It could be one word answers. We don't have to get too personal in it. You know, again, this is going to be an X-rated show tonight. So please put the kiddies up, you know, put them to sleep, get your snacks out, because it's going to be a good one. It's going to be spicy. But again, we're going to keep it respectful. Will it get raunchy sometimes? Probably. Will it get explicit sometimes? Probably. So that's why I want the kids put away, because this is an adult-rated conversation. So I'm going to start off with me. One thing that is a deal breaker, and I will not politic with you if it does not happen sexually in my relationship, and that's oral. It has to be a part of lovemaking. It can't be, oh, you're doing it because you're doing it because I like it. You're doing it because you like to do it. It has to be embedded in you. That's something that you enjoy doing, you've always done, and you've mastered, period. Okay, that's a deal breaker for me. And one thing that I will absolutely not partake, and that will be a deal breaker for me, I do not partake in anal sex. So those are my two things. We're not going to elaborate. We're not going to talk about it. I put myself out there because these are the conversations and these are the kinds of things that you need to express to your partner and somebody that especially you're going to marry and you're going to be with in a lifelong relationship, or we're going to be walking around here miserable. So Gary, I'm throwing the football to you. What is one thing you will absolutely not partake in, and what is a deal breaker if your partner does not partake in? Let it ride. Go ahead.
Well, let me first say that you know, when it comes to sexual compatibility, you have to have the real sex conversation first, right? So, and the majority of people don't do that, right? So, and I think that's where a lot of the problems happen, because they don't have the real sex conversation in terms of the discussions of the likes and dislikes, and you know, what are you into, not into, you know, all those type of things. That needs to be a real conversation that they both understand and sort of come to an agreement on in terms of how they're going to move forward, and more so to see how sexually compatible they are, because you got to have that first, in my opinion, before you jump into bed. So to answer your question, what's an absolute? So she definitely has to do oral sex. If she's not into that, then obviously it's not going to happen. Um, and then the other thing is that I don't do anything anal either. A lot of these women nowadays, I guess these modern women, they have this thing about wanting to put their tongue back there. I don't know where that shit came from. No pun intended, but yeah. Homie, don't play that.
Okay, that's understood. It is what it is. Smitty, keep it short, Smitty, because I know you like to get into it. You know, and we don't want to get too personal, because then one question turns into another question and another question. What is something in a relationship that is an absolute deal breaker for you sexually, and then something that you absolutely will not partake? And before you answer, Smitty, guys, don't forget to like. Even my co-hosts, guys, you gotta like. Press like on the JVJ network and press like on this channel. So go ahead, Smitty. Talk to me, my dear. What is something you absolutely will not partake in, and something that you will not buck on if you don't get sexually in a relationship that you are partaking?
Yeah, it's funny you said.
I know.
Nah, it's funny you say don't be long with this one. Actually, this is the one I'm the shortest on. I do not. I'm an extremely private person. Now I'm going to oblige the discussion. I'm not going to, but let's just say I'm gonna go with this, right?
Okay.
My definite like no goes. Just like the rest of us up here, Gary kind of, didn't allude to it, said it. My anus is Area 51. You will be shot yards away from the perimeter. Okay. I really don't care what's going on in the bedroom, because I'm fully aware everybody has their own little kinks and little things about them that they like and that they into. I just make it very clear. Don't think for a second you can slide a tongue, a finger, anything. If I by reflex knock the shit out you because of that, I'm not a violent man. I don't hit women. It's like when the doctor puts the rubber thing to your leg and it just, it kicks. It kicks. You can't control that. It just kicks. Okay. If your tongue enters that vicinity, finger or anything, it's going to be a kick. So don't take that the wrong way. Other than that,
well, hopefully, Smitty.
Other than that,
you're having that okay.
Other than that, I'm a Scorpio to the fullest. I'm a very passionate man in that bedroom, and there are a lot of different things I like to explore. I'm gonna be honest with you, hit it from the back, missionary. That shit's boring. And that's all I'm going to say. Respect.
Okay. So we heard it. Y'all heard it from me. Y'all heard it from Smitty, and y'all heard it from Gary. My point in asking these questions, gentlemen, and to my audience is, these are the type of questions you got to ask. To have a fulfilling sexual relationship and to find out if you're sexual compatible with a person, you have, like Gary was saying, and like we say here every week, you gotta have the conversation. You got to communicate. I'm not a mind reader. Smitty's not a mind reader. I would hope that Smitty would, express his discernment and his Area 51 area before we even get into that bedroom. So
we do.
Reaction. Okay, so his knee-jerk reaction doesn't happen. And I know Gary has that conversation because he don't have a problem. He demands communication. So, but this is the whole point of this show, guys. And it was funny because I kind of went back to my notes from Sexless Marriage. And I really should have had this show first and then Sexless Marriage, because if we do this first, ladies and gentlemen, and see if we're a sexual compatible person that we're getting a relationship with, then we won't find ourselves in a sexless marriage. Preventive measures. So, with that being said, sexual compatibility refers to two partners having shared or similar sexual needs, including sexual preferences, turn-ons, desired frequency. Getting physical in the early stages of love can come with trials and tribulation, many of which totally normal. But again, sexual compatibility is known as being mutually sexually attracted to your partner. But there's more to it than that, than just being attracted. What happens when the attraction fades away? What happens when the chemistry shifts? We still, at the end of the day, have to be sexual compatible. So with that being said, Gary, what would you have to add to that?
I mean, I think that you know, like I was saying, it's you gotta have the real sex conversation, and in that conversation, you have to talk about you know, your different kinks, your different fetishes. Now there are kinks and fetishes that some people have that are, you know, that I guess they can share with their partner. Then there's other kinks and fetishes that it's secret. They don't want to share with anybody, right? Not just yet, right? Because, oh my God, if I say that, then, you know, my partner may think I'm crazy or something like that. So, you know, you have to build a level of comfortability until you can open up that part to your partner. You know, I said this on another show the other day. It's like, we're all wired sexually different, right? Everybody's wired differently, right? And that's just a fact, right? So, and when it comes to sex, people like different things, right? So you want to be able to get with someone or have a relationship with someone where that's into the same thing with you, but also too, you want someone that you can grow sexually with, right?
Absolutely.
I think
that's important too.
Right, that's very important. If you have a partner that you can grow sexually with, where y'all are into being adventurous, right? And exploring different lifestyles, then that's great. But the most important thing, you gotta have the real sex conversation and find out really where each other is at on a compatibility scale. I mean, and I think that is crucially important. And it's not, you know, and when I say having a real sex conversation, I'm not talking about dirty talk or anything like that. I'm talking about a real intelligent conversation to see, well, where y'all are at. What are your likes? What are your dislikes? What are some of the kinks? Because also too, you know, there's certain things that you may like that your partner may just naturally do, right? Like, for example, there's some men that like a woman that to wear heels, right? Now some women do that naturally. Other women, you got to twist their arm to go do it. You follow me? Right? And that's just an example of one thing. So you want to be able to find someone that do things naturally that you like, right? So that's half the that's kind of like half the battle.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to deal with someone or be with someone where they're gonna do something for you because they because you want them to do it, right? You want to be with someone that's going to do things because they like doing it. They enjoy doing it. Very big difference, right? Very big difference. Very big difference.
Absolutely, because then it becomes like a chore. You're not doing it because you like to do it. Oh my God, now I have to wear heels and I have to do this.
Exactly, right. Right.
And important. That's important.
Right. And just one more thing. There's some women who love to wear lingerie, who love that. There's other women that they're not going to do that. There's like, so, you know, and if you're a guy that's into a woman that's like wearing lingerie, and if you pass relationships with women that like to wear lingerie, and the new woman that you're dealing with doesn't want to do that, is not really into that, then, you know, you got to figure out what you're going to do. You follow me?
I hear you, Smitty. Go ahead. What do you have to say on this? What say you?
Yeah, I was listening to Gary. It's real simple. I go back to, you know, even what my pops was teaching me growing up. I remember, like, he used to be like, so I'm gonna try to make this short, all right? Forgive me, y'all. My dad, he used to tell me all the time, like, hey, look, you got to keep yourself in a certain appearance at all times. You have to keep yourself conducting yourself a certain way at all times. Why? Because you don't never know when that job opportunity is going to come along. And you don't want to have to be somebody who's not accustomed to having discipline, not accustomed to having structure and schedule. You said, that's why I have you on the baseball team or basketball team, whatever. That's why I make sure that you do projects on the weekend and you have a schedule, a structure. Why? Because I know all of this is going to fade. You being a teenager, being up under us, it's going to fade. You're going to have to go into the real life, and you're going to have to go ahead and tackle the world. But my point is this, right? You don't want to have to all of a sudden try to turn that on, keeping up with it and everything else. You've been used to waking up when you want and everything. Now, all of a sudden, you got to try to turn that switch on. That's not easy. To what Gary's saying, these women that's like, oh, they do it not because they want to, but because it's kind of a job. Those are the women who, when they're single, they don't live that life. They don't live as if like they still want that relationship type thing. So what they'll do is they'll go ahead and fake it for a while. But then what happens is you start to see everything come out. You start to see the inconsistencies. Why? Because they were never trained and they never conditioned themselves to be in that mind state in the first place. So now they thinking, I can just turn that shit on when I want. No, you can't. No, you can't. You were supposed to be built for that from Jump Street. You're supposed to already have that stamina and endurance to deal with what comes with a relationship, good and bad already. And that's why we see a lot of women folding, because they thinking I can just not do that, not think about it, not live it, not act it. I can talk it, but never walk it. Now when it's time to walk it, yeah, you gassed out, you out of breath. You can't hang with everybody else in this marathon. I digress, my mic is muted, rock out.
Okay, so my question to you is, both gentlemen, especially Smitty, because you just brought up a good point, but why do y'all men put up with it? I learned from a divorce attorney, we talked, and he has told me that there are women out there that will cut off sex right after the honeymoon. And some of you gentlemen will go days, weeks, months, even years without the sex. I get it. Some of y'all stay for the kids. Some of y'all stay because you want to keep the relationship. But why do y'all remain in a sexually frustrated relationship? Why not talk? A lot of y'all don't say anything. You got to admit it. Not my guys up here on the panel, because y'all are communicators, or y'all wouldn't be up here with me. But there are a lot of men that just eat shit every day and put up with it and walk around with blue balls. Why?
I can tell
Well,
you exactly why briefly, and then Gary, you go ahead, rock out. I'm gonna calm down. These are the men, Grace, everything you just described. These are the men that in their mind, oh, Lord forbid, Grace, if you go to my channel, I got this video on, I forgot the guy's name. You'll see it, it's the white boy. And he got a nice little Asian chick, nice little, Filipino, nice little pretty body, couple tattoos. She has a look. These guys who put up with that, I'm gonna tell you right now, is because in their head, unfortunately, they just don't believe that they can get anything else. There are some guys, they will get one pretty chick, they will get one good looking chick, and they swear on life, I will never be able to nag this again. And little do they know, bruh, like at least 50 of her are just around the corner, maybe 2 blocks up the street. Bare minimum 50 of them. Now, let's not even go outside the state. Let's not go outside the country. You know what I mean? So to land it, and Gary, you take it away, those dudes who put up with that, it's because these are the guys who don't know themselves. Knowing yourself means knowing what you should put up with. What is on your level to put up with, and what is beneath you. If you don't know yourself, you'll deal with a bunch of shit that is beneath you. Whole time you're above that. But because they don't know themselves, guess what?
Sense.
They get that one chick and they swear on life, I will never see that again. So they will put up with, some of the most. And that's why these IG models really got it in their head. All I have to do is look good, because we know if I get with you, you probably gonna think that you can't get nothing else. Now, men like myself and many others, we're not going for that shit. That's dead. I'm fully aware your looks, you're gonna look good now, then it's gonna fade. I know that for a fact. 2, I already know there's 1,000 of you out here. It's 15 women to 1 man. Why am I worried about you? That damn serious. Women have options as far as simp ass niggas. Men have options equally when it comes to the abundance of women. I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
So to answer your question, Grace, there are men who, I guess, when they go through those type of relationships, it's when they're younger, so they don't know. They probably wasn't taught, right? Or don't know any better, right? So they figure that because they're in the marriage, they'll use, okay, I'm here for the kids, I'm sticking in the marriage for the kids, so forth and so on, and they'll put up with it. So I think that a lot has to do with inexperience, right? And also a lot has to do with not even learning, like didn't even have like maybe a strong father figure, a strong male figure to kind of school you on what you should do. Because I can tell you, my uncle was like, yo, I got a lot of jewels from my uncle when I was just a teenager on how you need to deal with women, and some guys don't have that, right? So then they get into a situation where, they get stuck, right? And some of these women can be so manipulative where, okay, I could give him the bomb sex for a couple of times, let him get all turned out. And there's some that even said this, oh, well, after we married, I don't got to do it anymore. And some of these guys, they take it and put up.
Starts.
Right. And some of these, but
Gary,
yeah.
That's where it starts to me. How can a woman think that after you get married, you cut your husband off of sex? Where did women get this idea? And they're not gonna like what I'm about to say, but that's okay. You're not supposed to like what I say. You're supposed to embrace it. And while I was doing my research, I was really flabbergasted of the data that I was gathering. I've always heard of people holding out on sex, especially women, but for years, sometimes, again, like I said, right after the honeymoon, and shutting off access to sex. But as a wife, it's your duty to satisfy your husband. And I say this and because the Bible tells me so. The duty of spouses are to love, support, cherish, and respect each other. And yes, making each other feel hot and spicy and happy does generally include sexual obligation. However, there is no one size fits all approach to sexual duties in marriage. So in 1 Corinthians 7, it says, do not deprive each other except by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. Each man should have sexual relationship with his own wife, and each woman with his own husband. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields to it to her husband. So how are people getting married by church with a pastor saying I do, and have the audacity to play hide and seek with the sex? I mean, make that make sense to me, women. I mean, I'm talking to the men and women, but we all know that it's women the most that cut off access to sex to men.
You know,
and I do have to bring God into this because I believe in God. I'm a God-fearing woman, and am I saying that I'm perfect and I live every day of my life righteous? But I do everything I can to live righteously every day and do what the Bible tells me to do. But if we out here getting married and telling that person I do and expect that person to be faithful, you got to give up the box. I'm gonna keep it real. I mean, and go ahead, Gary. Say what you got to say.
There are some women that they like the idea of marriage, but don't really understand what marriage really is, right? So they like the wedding gown, the married in the church, like the whole bells and whistles of being married, right? In terms of the optics, right? On your wedding day, but understanding the full house of marriage, and what marriage embodies and details. You know, some women, they don't really understand that. They really don't understand that, right? So, you know,
but everybody understands that men. Gary, I gotta push you on this. Women know that men like sex. Women know that men need and want sex, and for them to walk around here and think that it's okay to play hide and seek with sex, it's just, I don't know. Maybe I am different.
Also,
have to see my parents be in a marriage to understand.
Well, look at the type of, also too,
Right.
I mean, also too, the type of man that some women marry. Women know who they can pull certain shit with, pardon my language, right? Women know who they can pull certain shit with, right? So some of these women are marrying men that are not gonna push back, and they know that. Right? Because any dominant alpha male, sigma male will lay down the law, like this is what it is. So there's no misunderstandings, miscommunication, or anything like that. But some of these women, like I said, they get into they wind up marrying men that, you know they could get away with shit, right? And unfortunately, we get some of the extremes, right, where they'll marry a man that they can get away with shit, but then also they marry a man that will, beat their ass. And I'm not one for beating up a women or domestic violence or anything like that. So, but for the most part, they marry men that they can get away with. Like they can do these things and he's not going to push back, right? Or he hasn't laid down the law yet. And I think that part of being a upstanding, strong man and showing leadership, if you will, is that before you get married or even before you get into the engagement, you have to let your lady know this is what it is. This is how I am. This is where like, let me know. Like, don't be pulling no bullshit with me and stuff like that. And I'm just saying it like that to just paraphrase it, but you got to have the real conversation to make sure that she understands where y'all are at, where y'all going, and what's expected. And if she's not down for that, then hey, then we can't do this.
I hear you. I hear you. Intellectual Soapbox, thank you for coming up. Let people know who you are, where we can find you, and what do you have to say about what I know you've been listening. What do you have to say about what we've been talking about? My midnight, you know, I got to ask you the same two questions that I asked the other gentleman without telling us too much or keep getting too personal with it. But first, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell people where we can find you, because I want all my subscribers to link up with my people that I work with. Where can we find you, sir?
Most definitely, family. Grace, thank you for allowing me to be on. Salute to Gary, salute to Smitty, salute to the JBJ Network. Definitely thank you for having me on. You can find me on Knowledge and Relationships as well. You can find me on Intellectual Soapbox, and I'm also doing some stuff on M3 TV Network. So those are the three channels that we're working on and working with.
Nice.
Salute to everybody, part of the family. You know, for those who know, and I'll say this: what was your questions, Grace? And then I'll kind of get into my soliloquy of what I can say.
Okay, the two questions is Soapbox. What is something that you will absolutely not partake if you was in a relationship sexually? And what is absolutely something that is non-negotiable and a deal breaker for you? And they could be one word, doesn't have to get elaborate or too personal. And the reason why I ask these questions is because these are the type of questions you're supposed to ask when you get into a bump these. What's your favorite color, or what are your hobbies? Let's get down to the nitty gritty. you know. So without further ado, go ahead. What would be your two answers to that?
One, I'm not sharing my woman with no man, so that's one. That's just what I'm not willing to do that at all. Your second question was. Well, the second.
What's something that you have your expectation of sex, and that if the girl doesn't do it, you're not gonna be with her? A deal breaker.
I would say my expectation because I mean I'm more. It's to me. I'm thinking more about intimacy than just the physical act. So for me, you know what I mean, like because I seek intimacy. Has to be somebody that would, and yet again, I'm already involved with with my family, and I already have my lady and all that for over a decade. So, you know, but the thing that's a deal breaker for me is somebody who doesn't stimulate me mentally and emotionally and spiritually. You know what I mean? If they're not building with me intimately there, then I don't even care what you're doing with me physically. You could have the greatest box in the world, but it's gonna be trash if you ain't building me up either way. Because I can just get some great box from somewhere else. You know what I mean? I can go seek it, find it, pay for it, whatever. Like, so it's gotta be, I gotta be stimulated in those different areas. That's what's gonna turn me on and keep me on. So when the physical happens, are we good to go? You know what I mean? And you could just be average in the bed physically. You ain't even gotta be all that. But it could just be the fact that you're stimulating all my senses and you're meeting me as a man. But if I may, I just wanted to build on a few things that I've heard and certain things that you were saying and the rest of you were saying. The reason why marriage can be difficult at times I'm not saying it's gonna always be difficult, but the reason why it's so difficult at times, and Gary touched on it, is that if you get married young, sometimes you don't know certain things, right? Sometimes you're not aware of certain things. Sometimes you're not privy to certain things. Whether you're, sometimes as a man you're not privy to certain things. Sometimes as a women are not privy to certain things. If you get married very young, so or you're not taught how marriage should be, or you have these expectations or these grandiose expectations, or sometimes the expectations are too low. You know what I mean? Because when you get married young, you know what I mean, you just your mind is not, you're not, to me, I don't even think people should get married until they really like in their 30s, to be honest with you. Both male and female, because I feel like you would have lived life, you would have gained your career, you have gained status, you have been in some relationships, and then you'll be able to foster a healthy relationship with a family. You will have the understanding of what you need to be and where you want to go. So that's what I believe. Everybody can be whatever they want. It's fine. You know what I mean? I'm not telling people what to do or what not to do. But that's just what I would give somebody advice, whether they were a man or woman. I'll tell them, hey, don't do it until you're 30. That would just be me. But I digress. But the reason why it can be so difficult at times is because marriage is the one relationship that you have with someone that is very intimate that you're not related to. You know what I'm saying? Every other relationship that you possibly have that you have a lot of intimacy with or is very close to you, you're related to them. It could be siblings, it could be your parents, it could be cousins, it could be whoever, grandparents. All those other relationships that you have in your life up to that point are people that you're related to. And even those relationships are difficult. Even they can drive you up the wall. Even they can frustrate you, make you mad, make you not want to speak to them, all types of stuff. So now it's two becoming one. It's two people that are not related to each other, that are coming from two different ways of upbringing. You know what I mean? Ideals, morals, standards, even if they believe in the same God or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're still the two different people. So you have these two different people coming together to become one. It's two becoming one. So I'm submitting my will, you're submitting your will, and we both doing that in reverence to God. You know what I'm saying? And we both at times have to lead each other towards God and lean on each other towards God. You know what I mean? And that's what makes marriage difficult, because it's a thing where it's like, man, yo, I want to go here this weekend. But you thinking, you like, all right, my woman, man, she going through this, that, and the third. She don't want to go there this weekend. She want to be in the house. All right, I'm gonna submit my will. I'm gonna stay in the house with her this weekend because she going through a lot at work. You know what I mean? But I want to go out, right? I want to go out. I want to go chill. I want to go eat out and do this and do that and the third. But my woman don't want to do that. She's not on that type of tone this weekend. She needs to relax. Like if I was with somebody like Grace had a long week. Hey, look, we're not going out this weekend. I need to relax, please. I need to get some sleep. My body's tired. You know what I mean? Babe, please, let's just stay home this weekend. I'm just tired. Like, next weekend we can go out, but this weekend, can we stay in? So
I wouldn't be selfish. I wouldn't be selfish like that. If I know that I was having a hard week and you wanted to go out with your boys, I'd be like, okay.
No, I want to go out with you. I want to. No. I don't want to go out with my boys. I want to go out with you, but you're tired and you've had a long week. And let's say, your boss has thrown a lot of demands at you. You have to even probably work during your days off and maybe send out some emails, and you just stressing. You're like, look, hey, next weekend I got you. Cool. I'm gonna submit my will. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna submit my will because my lady needs that at that moment. Just like if there's something I needed, right? I want to have a Super Bowl party. She like, all right, you know what, man? He been working hard. He been doing a lot. And he been taking care of the kids and all that. You know what? I usually don't like to have people over my house. I don't really want nobody sitting on my couches and like that. But you know what? I'm gonna let him have the Super Bowl party. Why not? You know what, babe? Go ahead. I'm gonna cook for it and all that. Let's have it. Let's do it. You know what I mean? So we submitting our wills. You know what I mean? It may be a hobby that you like. You may like the opera. I hate the opera. I don't want nothing to do with it. But I'm gonna submit my will and go to the opera because you love it. And I'm gonna be investing in it. I'm gonna get dressed up. I'm gonna put cologne on, all that, and I'm gonna go to the opera, and I'm gonna find out who's singing, what note they singing in, and all that, because that's what you love to do. You know what I mean? And if we submit in our wills, and we are basically doing that because we love God and we love our partner, then it could work. You know what I'm saying? So that's what marriage is about. It's two people submitting their wills, coming together under their love for God and for each other, and raising their kids. You know what I mean? And take care of their family and loved ones based on that love. So, yeah.
I hear you. I hear you. Gary, you have anything else to add before I go on?
Yeah, I mean, what he was saying, I think, it's give and take, right? You have to be able to give and take with your partner. That is very important, and I think that again, in the inexperienced couples, they don't understand that, right? I do also agree that I think by the time you're 30, then you should be able to get married and stuff like that. I do totally agree with that, but again, to circle back, it's give and take, right? And you got to be able to give and take with your partner, and that's very important. And I think that's the most challenging from what I've seen with a lot of couples. But then that stems back to the original, conversations in the beginning, right? Don't tell me what I want to hear. Tell me what I need to hear, or let's have a real conversation to talk about, what we're into, what are we compatible with, right? And that takes a little time. Anyway.
But guys, I want you to stay focused on that. I am focusing on sex. I know we're talking about give and take and this and that, but what I want us to focus on is, okay, let me ask Smitty real quick. What percentage would you put the importance of sex in your relationship? Smitty, you there?
I'm still
okay. Maybe he stepped away. Soapbox, what percentage? I know you said that everything is mental for you, mentally stimulating or anything. So I guess your percentage will be low because the other aspects of the relationship is more important to you. But do you realize that's because you're older? When you were younger, that percentage was different, right?
Oh, most definitely, the percentage different when I was a younger man because my outlook was different. And that doesn't mean that I don't desire physical connection. I definitely do. So it's definitely something that's important. But I also understand, like, like right now my partner's going through a tremendous loss. She lost somebody, in her family. A very close, very, very close family member. Who raised her. So, like, her mindset and where she at right now, she ain't really she ain't really thinking about certain things like the way I may want her to think about it. So, you know what I'm saying? And then at times where she is a certain way, we have to talk about certain things, and there's more conversation, garnered around how she feels and what she thinks and where she's at. You know what I mean? Because right now she's going through a hard time during the summer, and I have to be cognizant of that. You know what I mean? It can't be where it's like, before I would get frustrated, like, yo, come on, man, like, yo, let's get it in, like, yo, you don't know I got, and it's like, nah, like, hey, she needs some time, she need to breathe, she going through something. You know what I mean? Or sometimes as a man, I've had health issues, and there's times where in my health issues, I wasn't able to be there physically the way I may want to. You know what I'm saying? And my partner was understanding. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's what it's about, because you just never, marriage is a marathon, man. It really ain't a quick race. But when it comes to intimacy, I'll say this, right? And I'm gonna be very frank about this, right? And intimacy, and I think this goes to marriage. But I'm just gonna be a realist because I know not everybody married, but you know what I mean? Well, when if you out there being intimate, right? You know what I mean? And it was a conversation I had kind of, before I even got on here. I was talking to a business partner of mine, but I was telling them, I was saying, in intimacy, period, especially physical intimacy, a lot of times people just don't know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? They don't know. Like, you'll be surprised when people don't know. Like, you will really be surprised. You're like, Grace, I thought you. And you're like, I didn't know that. But you have a kid, right? I don't know that, right? So there's things that people don't know. There's things that people don't know about how to protect themselves. There's things that people don't know about.
You expect them to know.
Yeah, you expect them to know. You think that they really know, and they do not. And these are grown people. I'm not talking about a teenager. I'm talking about a grown adult. that does not know how to physically please the next partner, or even how to physically really be comfortable in themselves to be pleased. You know what I mean? And how to use protection and things of that nature, where to find protection. You know what I mean? What things they may be allergic to or not allergic to or whatever, when it comes to like lubrication and things of that nature. Like, people don't know these things. You know what I mean? People don't know there's certain body parts or certain spots on the body that will cause a woman to be more attracted, or she would be more comfortable if you touch this part, or if you don't touch that part, or not to be rough here and there. And it's the same thing for men. You can't, you just can't be entirely rough with a man just because he's stronger. There's parts of our body that's sensitive too. You know what I mean? So if you come at them the wrong way, or you use it the wrong way, then it's the brother can be like, oh, whoa, hold on, whoa, like that hurts, like, yo, you know what I mean? You can't be doing it that way. So we have to be aware, and a lot of times people assume that they're aware, but some people really not aware, because if they were, then a lot of times you wouldn't have all these complaints on the internet. But I digress.
So I'm going to give you a perfect example what a lot of people don't know, and they actually have to learn from somebody else. And maybe that's why a lot of women don't give head. But what a man eats can throw off a woman's pH balance and the taste of their semen. A lot of men don't know this, and they go around eating all this junk food and all this bullshit, and then they wonder. I told you guys it was going to get racy and spicy, and we're going to go all in, But a man's diet can also be contingent on how much head you get. Think about that.
Hey, hold on, please. I'm gonna go ahead. I don't know if it was said or not, but the same thing goes for women. Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Man, look. I'm gonna say it, and I don't care. I don't care where you from. I'm not saying this about all women from there, but I dated a woman from the islands, right? And she's into her, and I get it. I'm gonna be real with you. When it came to like her skin glow, her immune system, health, all of that, right? Oh man, shorty, healthy. Man, when I tell you it was something about a stench I just couldn't identify with when I went down there, bruh, and it was only, and she ain't like the fact that I couldn't get with it. But then I realized, yeah, she does a lot of spices, a lot of garlic. Ladies, I'm telling you right now, if you into like, oh yeah, garlic's healthy, and yeah, it is. I'm gonna tell you right now, man, the way that thing make, man, it makes your box smell like a East Indian house spice cabinet, and it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant. I'm telling you now. So I do get you. We all know the whole men eat pineapples and mangoes and fruit. I know. Anybody who hip enough is aware of that. But you know something I noticed to land it though, Grace? You already know. But my thing is like, I noticed that it's never really no talk about that. We don't talk about women doing something today, back in the day, called douche. I thought that was Dutch. I thought it was Switzerland somewhere or something. No, it's douche. All right, bet. We won't talk about that no more, right? So my point is, ladies,
yeah, but the thing
what
is,
y'all eat does have a lot to do with the pleasantry, not just eating it, but even when we smashing that thing. You know how many times I've had situations where I couldn't figure out, man, I was sliding the drawers off. Ooh, you was so fresh. Oh yeah. Lift that leg, girl. Slip on in there. We slip on in there. You know what happens? After about, I don't know. I don't usually keep count, but sometimes I do. Somewhere around the 27th stroke, and sweat starts to emerge from the body. I don't know what happened, but the room just starts boofing. It's just like, boof. And I'm trying to figure out, why is this room smelling like this right now? Where did this monster odor just come from? Nigga, I know it's not me. And I noticed the more, and so then ladies, you have us because we into the moment, but we don't want to make you feel bad. So imagine that dilemma. I'm into the moment, but I don't want to make you feel bad. So I got to bring that together. So now, little do you know, I'm hitting it from the back like this. I'm like this the whole time, hitting it from the back. I can't stand what's going on. Okay? I'm sorry, Grace, because when you got to talking about the semen and everything, I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, do you not know how many times? And then guess what? Because see, it's real easy for us to think, shorty just dirty, she unhygienic. No, it's what she eat. What she eat when I go down there in any form of fashion, whether I take Kevin down there or my face goes down there. Either way, I'm like, hold on, nah, I ain't with that. I think you need to eat or drink. Look, you need to go get a blueberry smoothie or some shit. I don't know. And look, ladies, don't get to thinking that little spray down there. That shit's disgusting. Shit make a nigga gag. Don't spray nothing down there. Keep it. If it's not fresh naturally, go to the gynecologist. Figure out what's going on. I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
Look, this is why we're having the conversation. This needs to be talked about. Y'all, a lot of women out here are walking around and they know, because I know some of them got to smell it. You got to figure something out, because if you're wondering why it's not happening for you or why the guy is not sticking around, something's going on, and vice versa. I'm not getting on just the women. I am getting on the men too, because again, this is about having sexual compatibility. And for some men, odor is important. It matters. So with sexual compatibility is much more significant in the well-being of a relationship than it is given credit for. Humans need sex. Sex is essential for our physical happiness. When couples are not able to fulfill each other's sexual needs and desires, dissatisfaction, frustration, resentment, and depression is an obvious result. It's when our couples has the same level of sexual desire and expectation that translates to a mutual, satisfying, frequent, and good quality sex. So you basically have to be on the same sex page. Just like you have to be on the same page financially. Just like you have to be on the same page emotionally. You have to be equally yoked sexually. Or somebody gonna be walking around with blue balls. Somebody gonna be walking around backed up. Somebody gonna be walking around frustrated. I see it every day at work. I can tell when a person is wound up too tight. You need to blow one off, sir, because this is unnecessary. Even the women walking around crabby and bitchy. Sex is essential for humans. And when you withdraw from it or you withhold from it, that's when problems start to arise. That's when the work wives or the work husbands start looking interesting. And that's when everything that you're not doing at home, the other person is going to do. And then we get into them. Now we're treading into a whole different topic. So far what you've heard, Gary, what you got to say?
Yeah, I mean, look, when you were talking about, the work wives and the work husbands, I mean, they see what the person goes through every day. So they're going to willingly do and happily do what the main wife or main husband is not doing. Right. So there's that. But also too, I want to say something about, sexual energy. Right. And I think that when you're in a relationship or getting into a relationship with someone, you want to make sure that you have the same type of sexual energy, because, you can have sex with someone and after the sex, you could feel drained, right? Or you feel like crap. Mm-hmm. And then you can have sex with someone and after it, you feel tired, but a good tired or a good drain. So sexual energy is very important because there's good sexual energy and there's bad sexual energy. So you have to be really aware of that, and that's a real thing, right? That is a real thing. So that's something to also keep that people need to keep in mind. If you want to have a partner that you have good or great sexual energy with.
Absolutely. And funny that you mentioned that, because it says here, having a sexual connection is important in a relationship. How? Sex in a monogamous relationship increases your level of commitment and emotional connection with the other person. Expressing love through sex increases the likelihood of couples staying together. And as a result, sex is positively associated with a lower divorce rate. With a lower divorce rate. Why do I say that? Because 50% of divorces are due to sexless marriages or the lack of intimacy. I was really, really surprised when I read in Newsweek.com that it says 15 to 20% of couples are in a sexless marriage. Women, let me tell you something, what happens to your husbands when he's not getting sex from you. And this goes for women too, but I'm really focusing on the men because women don't understand. We may want sex, but the way men are built, the way men are wired, they need sex. When he's not getting sex from you, he's not getting sex from the wife, the woman who he professed his love to, the effects are detrimental. They really are. A lot of it's like the after effects are crazy. Hold on one second. Men need intimacy too. Just like us women, men need love, warmth, closeness, validation, and acceptance. Men by nature are more physical due to a higher level of testosterone, and they express these needs for emotional closeness by doing the bullshit that we like to do side by side for their wives, hoping that at the end of the night they can get them some. The average appears to be a few times a week, but there is no right amount of sex that men need. They just need consistency. And the one constant is his emotional need to feel that you desire him. Men need to know and feel that, because if they don't, it's going to be a problem. When a lady rejects a man, a partner that he chose to love and marry and to commit to, he gave up his player's card, he gave up his Rolodex for you, he gave up all the other willing options for you, and now you have the audacity to play hide and seek with the box? Get the fuck out of here. I mean, come on, ladies. We can just look at it for what it is. When a man is rejected for days, weeks, and even years, it takes a significant toll on his self-esteem and emotional well-being. It throws him off not only physically, but also emotionally. You got to understand that love and sex go hand in hand in marriage, and they are equally important to sustain the bonds of marriage. A man will start to feel less emotionally attached to you. He will start to drift apart, be less indulgent to activities with the family, helping with the kids, the bondingness, the togetherness, and he will start withdrawing. And let's not even talk about, Gary, what happens to the body when it's not receiving sex. You get a higher risk of heart disease. You get more stressed out, slower brain growth. You get sick more often because your immune system starts to deteriorate. For men, it's harder for them to get an erection. For men, there are higher risk of prostate cancer because it is necessary for men to ejaculate frequently so it can reduce the risk of prostate cancer. And if you guys don't believe what I'm talking about here, you can look it up. I'm not just up here talking my shit. This is real life information. And then for us women, if we go without sex for a long time, we're able to have less lubrication, and it'll take longer for us to be stimulated. So there's a lot to this, ladies and gentlemen, because again, and I'm reiterating, we as humans need sex. It brings clarity. I don't know about y'all, but when you have a good session, it just takes a toll off. It feels like a burden has been kicked off. You can, put some hip in your hop and some hop in your hip. You know what I'm saying? So it's necessary. Sex is necessary. Smitty, with everything I've said, what do you got to add? Because I see that face. What you got to add, Smitty? Well,
I didn't make no face.
Eat on my
I woke up
pineapple
like
and
this.
watermelon.
I woke up like this. That wasn't no face. Okay. All right. Like, so my whole thing is this, right? Like, for example, fellas, right? I'm a rising like the phoenix at 4 a.m. type of guy. That's me. And what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of these things have to do with, yes, and I'm going to go there, I'm going to say it, your weight and your blood flow. A lot of guys that refuse to either, like, you know what I'm saying, really get their weight in order. God damn it, Jim. I'm sorry, y'all, phone call. You still hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear
Can
you.
you hear me?
Yes.
A lot of these guys that do that type of stuff, and I'm starting with the men. They I know some like old heads that like they won't go to the gym with me for nothing. Even after my accident, I still go to the gym, yo. I still go do things to stay active. Period. I don't just sit around really ever, right? I'm too high voltage. Your blood flow has a lot to do with your erection capacity. It does. It's blood flow, right? So what I'm saying is the more weight you have on and stuff, or the less active you are, it's just like a car. You know how the fluids in the car, if it's cold and it's been sitting, or if it's been sitting too long, what they do? They got to start that engine and just and just run it. Why? Because you got to get the fluids running through. Well, that's how the body works. It's the same way. You have to stay active to keep everything on a continuous flowing motion. When you are more complacent, you just sit more. I promise you that has a lot to do with your headspace sexually. It has a lot to do with your physical performance. You see what I'm saying? And it more than anything has a lot to do with how long you last. That's right. So
For all my gentlemen, listen.
So when you turn into minute rice, then you got to understand. I mean, it's because more than likely you haven't been active. Women, make sure you pay attention to what you eat and stay active as well. I'm gonna be real. I can't stand a woman that can't ride me. Yeah, because you're too lazy. Because you know what happens? Ladies get on top of us, and then you realize how much work goes into them strokes we do. Yeah. Now you trying to fake and act like you want to be submissive and you want me to get back on top. No, shorty, I'm not stupid. You tired out. And that's okay because you're not that active. But that's cool though. You see where I'm coming from? Like, seriously, I have dealt with women that if I try to get up, they keep pushing me back down. I can't get up. They won't let me. Nah, this is mine. I'm going to hold you down. I'm going to ride this thing. I bet. Just keep inserting the quarters. As in, keep on doing what you do. Bet. I ain't worried about that. But I do come across some chicks at times where it's like, they try to fake and act like, oh yeah, the little music playing, got the candles lit, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? And then they get doing their thing. And then I notice, I could real deal just kind of sit there and hit one of these. It's like 45 seconds. But to them, they really think like they was really doing something for a minute. Nah, yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is. And you thought that I was just copping out on you. You have no idea. Ladies, when we have sex with y'all, it's not just pleasure, it's also a workout. That's a lot of lower ab work for us to stroke your ass for the next 45 minutes or so. Try the humping position. Just do a humping position for 10 minutes and tell me how your back and lower body feel. And then talk to us. I digress. My mic is muted.
I mean, you're absolutely right, Smitty. But that, from what the comment that you just said, do you express to your other half that matters to you? That is one of your favorite? Again, this is the conversation that Smitty will have to have. Smitty will have to have.
I'm not with nobody. See, Grace, that's hard. I'm not with nobody. We haven't had this talk with listen, if I'm with a woman, it's because I did what? I thoroughly vetted. We've been talked about sex. We've been I'm with you, you with me, we're solidified. We've been had those late night pillow talks of, on the phone. Yeah, so what you like? Okay, oh, for real shit. I mean, look, I'm gonna let you know right now. Hey, look, if you ain't down with blah, 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 all of that, we been did all of that. So everything I'm talking about is what we've been already talked about. Me in my mind, I'm already thinking that's been solidified. If I'm telling you that's my girl, I would already think that it's known that, bro, I've already vetted all of that. So forgive me, Grace, because I'm skipping over that part. I'm skipping over that part because I'm not doing all that shit with some. Come on now, anything else? That's just a jump off. That's a jump off. At least that's what we say out here. Jump off as in smash and dash. That's a jump off.
I hear you. I totally hear you. Gary, you have anything else to add before I move forward?
No, you could go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a story that I had a coworker tell me one day. We were close, and her and her husband acted like they were still newlyweds. And I asked her, what is your secret? You guys been married for over 20 years and y'all still act like y'all in high school. And she said, Grace, you really want to know? I said, yeah, I want to know. I want to learn. I want to become, since I have an ex-husband now, and when I plan to remarry, I don't want to repeat the same mistakes. I want to be able to do better. She was like, every morning before we go to work, we take a shower together. That's how we start our day off. I don't care if we've argued the night before, or we bickered, or we didn't talk to each other. But every morning at 6:30, that shower comes on, and we let all that drain down the drain, and we start a new day. And we don't bring that BS back, and we start a new day over. And that hit hard, because again, that goes with what Soapbox was talking about. That's intimacy. That's real. It doesn't, and she said, sometimes we don't even engage in sexual intercourse in the shower. We just simply have intimacy. We connect, we wash each other, and we start our day off. I make sure I pack his lunch, make him his coffee. He makes sure that I'm good for the day. And that stuck with me. I mean, it might not happen, but that might not work with me. But the takeaway is you got to take a moment out with your significant other. At least, just like you take time out with God and you have your prayers and your meditation, you got to have the same scenario with your partner. You got to check in with them mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. You got to check in with them. Life is already hard with the kids, the bills, the job, your family, your parents. But you got to check in with that significant other, the one that you are explicitly exchanging bodily fluids with. You got to check in on a daily basis.
Well, I think one of the problems is that a lot of people don't know how to be intimate, right? They don't know how to be emotionally intimate with their partner. And intimacy is a huge part, huge part. and a lot, and again, I think because some of these married couples that they marry young, they don't really understand the different levels of intimacy and emotional intimacy in itself. And the example of taking a shower with your partner and not even having sex, absolutely. Like those are very intimate moments. You're cuddling in bed and not having sex, right? Those are very intimate moments. You know, you may be watching TV, or y'all been maybe watching TV and you're laying on his lap. Those are intimate moments, right? Those are very powerful, important moments, right? And a lot of people really don't know how to have those, right? They only look at intimacy as sex or kissing, and that's not it, right? That's not it. So you really need to know how to have emotional intimacy and connect with your partner, and that definitely will help a lot of things. But also, let me just add on to couples also need to learn how to keep it spicy, right? Because you don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over, right? You got to keep it spicy, right? So you have to keep it spicy. Whether you want to be adventurous sexually, y'all want to explore other lifestyles, you know, but you got to keep it spicy, right? And I think that's also another important thing that makes a great sex life, is couples that are able to keep it spicy, and whatever that may be for that particular couple, because it's not one size fits all.
You're absolutely right. Each marriage has to be customized to the couple. But Gary, let me ask you a question. We're talking about keeping it spicy. We're talking about being intimate. We're talking about how people don't know how to be intimate. So how does somebody learn? How does somebody learn to keep it spicy? How does somebody, you don't know, but this is real life questions. You have a couple that have been married 15 years. The woman's bored, the man is bored. So where do they go about learning how to do different shit and keeping it spicy and doing whatever?
Well, now,
besides having the communication.
Well, now it's you have a lot of sex therapists that have been working with couples to show them and guide them on intimacy and things that they need to do, and even telling them about being, you know, about spicing up their relationship. So nowadays, there are a lot of sex therapists that are helping out couples. When I was growing up, I was fortunate to have two uncles that kind of schooled me on how to deal with women and what to look out for in the sexual aspect and all of that. But also too, being that I was told that I had an old soul, I kind of learned things early and just learned from experience. So a combination of those things helped me. But with a lot of people nowadays, it seems like they got to go the sex therapist route.
Yeah, but Gary, we got YouTube now. We got sex toys.
Well, yeah. Well,
like,
I mean,
I didn't know that you can buy sexy ass clothes at an adult store. You know, I'm not. You don't have to go to Victoria's Secret. They got some other stuff. They got a lot of different things that you can use. Board games. I mean, I feel. Well, I don't want to use the word. I think that people don't. Go ahead.
Well, there is. Let me just say this. There are adult expos, right? Adult conventions that happen around the country. So there's one that happened. There's actually two that happen here. Two in October. One is called Sex Expo. The other one is called Exotica. And then there's one in Vegas in January called the AVN Expo. Those three are your primary adult conventions that happen in the country here. And what they have all types of things. Like you could take your girlfriend or your partner, your boyfriend or what have you, and you could go there and you'll literally see whatever you're into or you want to learn, right? Or want to take courses, you'll find it.
So there's no excuses. It really isn't. You
I
gotta
don't agree with that.
the effort. Agree with what, Smitty? You don't agree with what?
I don't agree with that. I'm saying it. I'm gonna be real with you.
What?
What Gary just said, that whole Hugh Hefner Comic-Con bullshit. Not you, Gary. I'm just talking
Why
about
not?
the topic. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, that shit only invites trouble. Now, the only reason why I would say a couple should do something like that is if y'all into like inviting others. Now, if that's your move, yeah, nah, rock out. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't need to go nowhere else to figure out anything I need to do to please my woman. You know what we need to do? We need to focus on what we doing. Now. Oh, I mean, we can watch a porn or something or whatever. Like you want to show me something in a flick, like, babe, I want to try that. I like that. Okay, all right, whatever. Okay, cool. No problem. But I'm gonna be real with you, like, I ain't never been big, like, I don't know. I'm talking about, see, because when it comes to my, like, I'm not trying to take the spice away from it. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to, like, anything involving my relationship, if it's not a serious problem, I don't ever seek no outside nothing. Like I said before, you heard me. I was like, I'm a very private person. You heard me say that from the beginning when I was stating off, right? I'm not with like, yo, I'm gonna tell you right now, one thing any of my exes can tell you, no matter what they say about me, they can tell you that man ain't never came out his mouth and exploited nothing about us. I don't get to going out because if I go there, I'm gonna have to now kind of express out openly to the world, which I don't want to do or don't care to do. Yeah, I'm into this, I'm into that. Nah. I swear on life, for the most part, the only people that know what I'm into sexually are the women who was in the bedroom with me. I don't care how long I've talked to you. I don't care how long we've been cool. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not with that shit. We gonna figure out how to keep our shit freaky and spicy together. Go ahead, Grace. My bad. You on a delay, boo, so I'm not cutting you off. My bad.
I hear you. I know I'm on the delay. To each his own, you know, because these conventions that Gary is talking about, I've never personally been to one, but
I've been to all of them, and they're great.
I bet you have, Gary. But do they not like show you new outfits? Do they not show you new toys? Do they not show you like new board games? What's that thing, the swing that they have in the room sometimes? Yeah,
it's anything that you could think of that has to do with an adult sexual lifestyle. That's what these conventions have. And you know, couples go there and they enjoy it. I mean, it has helped people spice up their sex life. It has helped people learn about things that they didn't know. So, you know, but again, everybody's wired differently, right? So, but these are things that now, I guess, to the question that you asked, you know, these conventions nowadays, you know, have helped a lot of people because they have all these things there that people can get into, learn from, talk about, network with like-minded people, like-minded couples, right? And that's very important. And that's very important because also too, maybe you and your partner, you know, y'all may be having a little issue about something and you don't want to do something, but then you come across another couple that's like, or other couples that's into what y'all probably want to do or not really sure about, and y'all talk about it, and you know, now you see it a little differently. So, and that's just a small
Okay.
example. That's just a small example. But my point is, with these different conventions, it's an opportunity for couples to really go spice up their sex life, learn about stuff, and just even explore, right? Just even explore, and I've seen it work. Like, and I've seen it really work. I mean, Exotica does like 3,000 people. Avian Expo, I think, does upwards of 5,000. So yeah, so these definitely work. I mean, it's, you know, it helps, right? It helps the couple stimulate and spice up their sex life, and that's, you know, and that's what a lot of couples really need. Now, some people, it may not be for them, and that's fine.
I hear you. I hear you. So, why is sexual compatibility so necessary? Compatibility is essential in any love relationship as it serves the foundation upon which the couple can build a strong, lasting bond. This is why communication is key. Communicating openly and honestly about your needs and desires ensures a mutually satisfying sexual relationship. The thing is, a lot of times people are embarrassed, people feel that they're being judged, or they feel that they can't come to the other person. But that shouldn't be, because a person should feel empowered to discuss their needs and wants with their partner without feeling ashamed, embarrassed, or being judged. It should be a safe place to speak about their sexual needs to ensure that both partners are happy and fulfilled. Because again, and I'm going to reiterate this to my embracers, the effect of a sexless relationship and or marriage can have detrimental side effects, negative feelings, the feeling of loneliness, resentment, frustration, guilt, rejection, inadequacy, less openness and less connection, less goodwill and kindness, and less patience with each other and others. It affects it. Lack of sex affects people, and it's necessary. And that's why before you see yourself in a sexless relationship or marriage, you must determine if you're sexually compatible. You have to take preventive measures. Look, I understand that people get sick. Medicine affects your libido. And like Smitty was saying, and I agree with you, there's so much pressure on women to stay fit, feminine, and fine. But you know what? I'm gonna throw it right back at y'all. We want to see y'all fit, and masculine and fine too. You know what I'm saying? It's the pressure shouldn't be all up on us. At least me, I am a very visual person. And just your presence sometimes, if I'm attracted to you, gets the party started for me. Okay? But if you out here looking sloppy, not smelling good, not getting taped up, you know what I'm saying? Not dressed nice, it's not gonna work for me. So to my ladies, y'all gotta get on this with me too. You're right, Smitty. Y'all, some men need to hit the gym more, need to eat better, need to take their vitamins. You know what I'm saying? Because that blue pill is not gonna work forever for y'all. Okay? It can only work for so long. But with that being said, Smitty, what you gotta say?
Yeah, real quick. To what you were saying, I just want to tap in on that before we move on or whatever. A man should be presentable. Absolutely. I may not always wear like collared shirts and suits and all of that, but I always make sure I'm clean. I always make sure I'm trimmed up. I always make sure I get the hair out of my nose, my ears, nails clean, trim my beard, shine that up, keep that combed. You should always. Why? Because I always resort to nature. Most male species in nature, like if you think like, let's take birds, a lot of them, they do things to look very, very presentable to females. Like take the peacock, right? The way them feathers spread and things of that nature. You have a lot of animals that the male species will make sure that they are presentable, dominant, upright to attract that woman. So that's definitely something that should be. And yes, fellas, you should have some money. You don't have to be the richest man in the world, but you should have enough funds that you are able to demonstrate and display how you can manage funds and how you can keep things flowing and going, you know, and not be in a rut. But even if you do get in a rut, you're able to kind of bounce back because you are a problem solver and resourceful. Now, the last part, Grace, and this is it. When you was talking about what you was saying, as far as the sex and how that can ruin, you know, the sexual compatibility. Yes, that's very true. I'm not going to say it's just for young couples, but I will say that I do believe it's for more so people that have that as their kind of priority for the relationship. So like, for example, me, the point of where I am so the type of guy that I am more so looking at how compatible are we on our outlook on bills, spending, how we function around the house. Like, can I get along with you being in the house? Do we have to get separate rooms? Things of that nature. So all I'm saying is, to land it, is that the sexual compatibility, I would say, goes for those who put the sexual aspect of their relationship at a higher part of the totem pole than maybe other aspects that other people look for. I will definitely, at 41, I am now willing to trade off what I like to do in the bed for your head space. I will do that trade-off.
Wow.
I will go without my sexual gratification if I know I can live in the same damn house with your ass. It's my point. My mic is muted.
Okay. So y'all heard it, ladies. Some men out here will put sex in the back burner and would rather have the right mindset on how you pay bills and how you get along with him versus sexual gratification. And Smitty, I would have to admit, your age is contingent upon on why you see that. A 20-year-old is not gonna feel that same way, but I get it. And women don't get it. They think just because they have a vagina and they bring that to the table, that's enough. And we're hearing it right here, ladies and gentlemen, from the men. If you want to learn from men,
as you get older, right? As you get older, you know, obviously from a man's perspective, as you get older, sex is great, but it's not the only thing. And it's important to have a woman that's well-grounded and that could do all the great, and that could do all the other things too. You know, I like to say you want to have a woman that's well-rounded, right? So there's no, because look, I'm 53, so there's no trying to throw sex in my face. And you know, a couple of years ago, there was a couple, you know, two women that tried to do it and thought that was going to be it. And you know, at my age, like, I need more than that, right? So there's stability, there's peace, there's we have to be in alignment. There's how you conduct yourself, not only around the house, but how you conduct yourself in public. So all those things have to come together in addition to the sex part, at least for me. That's how it works for me. Like, I'm at the point in my life where there's certain things that's just non-negotiable. This is how my contract is, and that's what it is.
I hear you. All right, gentlemen. Well, we're going to go into our final thoughts. This was a really, really good show. It did get spicy at times, but this is necessary. And I hope that people who watched, have something to take away from this. Because again, and I'm going to reiterate, sex is essential to humans. And if you're depriving your partner or your relationship of that, problems are going to arise. So Smitty, I'm going to hit you up first. Go ahead and give me your final thoughts and let people know where we can find you one last time so we can start wrapping things up.
All right. Well, Grace, as always, it's been absolutely a joy and a pleasure. And I always appreciate you when you hit me up and when you ask me to come up. I appreciate you for that. Thank you. Gives me a sense of value in a sense, So thank you, sister.
Absolutely.
You can catch your boy at Smitty's Corner. Absolutely. You can catch me here co-hosting with Grace and Gary, on Thursdays. And you can also catch me anywhere where a voice is to be heard. That's right. That's right. Other than that, I digress. My mic is muted. I love us. Respect.
Gary, go ahead and final thoughts on this topic and where we can find you.
As always, Grace, it was a great topic. Definitely a spirited discussion. Look, sexual compatibility, as we always say, and I know we sound like broken records. I mean, you have to have the real
but it's necessary.
Yeah, right. But you have to have the first thing is you have to have the real sex conversation. That's where it starts, right? The real sex conversation to really discuss and see where y'all are at, right? What you're into, what you're not into, if y'all are into the same things or different things, or what y'all open to. So you have to have the real sex conversation. And it's not going to take a day or 2 days or 3 days. It's going to take some time, right? It's really going to take some time. So that's where it first starts. Now, once you have had the real sex conversation and y'all have come to some agreement where y'all at, then you could start to move forward in what works for you. You can catch me, The Real Discussion, every Fridays, Fridays 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We're back September 8th, live in studio audience. You can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, The Real Discussion, and Boardwalk Global Media.
Okay, and again, Gary, thank you for coming. I really appreciate your input and your feedback. So with that being said, let me go ahead and close it out. My final thoughts to all my embracers and my new subscribers. I appreciate it. I saw it come through. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and donate to the channel. Look, people, again, I'm not a licensed therapist, but I'm definitely would consider myself being an expert in unsatisfying and sexually frustrating experience in relationships. But I am making a conscious, intentional effort to make sure that doesn't happen to me ever again. To some people, sex may not be an important factor to them, but to others it is. And if it is, then one has to intentionally and consciously make sure that the person they choose, that they are sexually compatible with. Just make sure that you vet your lifelong partner about sex. Ask all the questions that are necessary to the extent to where a couple perceives and they share the same sexual beliefs, preferences, desires, and needs. And of course, the more similarities you have, the more compatible you are. So just be upfront, have fun, learn together, grow together. I mean, it's just not we're growing and learning each other sexually, physically, emotionally. It's all across the board. So I hope that I was able to show somebody something about this and the importance of sex. Ladies, stop holding out on sex, because the one thing that's the most walking around on this earth is vagina. And all a man has to do is slide into somebody's DM, and the next woman will do what you won't do. And don't get mad if he steps out of the marriage or the relationship. Does it make it right? No. But come on, you have to pull your weight. You have to do your due diligence to make sure your man is satisfied. So with that being said, you can find me here on YouTube, Embrace the Grace. You can find me on IG, Embracing the Grace. Excuse me. TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp. I'm collaborating with JVJ Network on Thursday nights, Boardwalk Global Media on Friday nights, Sir Hale Speaks on Sunday nights, Unfiltered Polo Blue, Smitty's Corner. I'm all over the place because I'm really trying to get this message out. I'm trying to see if I can make a difference in my presence in this earth before I leave, and leave a legacy. So to everybody, thank you again. Don't forget to support the channel, hashtag Embrace the Grace 23. I appreciate y'all support. Have a good night. Thank you.